Merry Christmas, guys. So, what are you thinking for the January transfer window? Who do you think we should go and sign? Who do you think we should go and keep as well?
I mean, January, in terms of like transfers, it's such a difficult market because a lot of people don't want to sell and a lot of people don't want to buy. A lot of players don't want to move because it's the middle of the season. But when you're in a promotion push like we kind of are now, you really need to go out there and strengthen. Otherwise, you're going to face a slide down the table, especially with how tight the league is. So I think in terms of January, we need to look for another striker because Michael Smith isn't doing the business. Osmajic is very problematic. And as much as Jefferson is brilliant at the minute, he could easily turn cold again. So I think we're going to be looking at a lone striker. In terms of names, I don't know who, but the obvious choice would be Cannon, as unlikely that looks now. And then for me, I want to be looking at maybe a left centre-back replacement for Hughes or a centre-back replacement for Lindsay, just to ensure that we are updating the defence every single window and ensuring that it isn't ageing as much. And then if I have one more wish, to replace Armstrong if he goes back to Everton. And I think a name I saw was Manchester City's Naipan, who isn't getting played at Middlesbrough. And I was thinking, yes, I'd love him at Preston. He'd be the perfect profile. And today we got linked. So, yeah, I think they're kind of the three main things I would like out of this window.
For me, I'm a bit similar to Etienne in the sense that you sort of wanting cover all over. Obviously, we spoke last week about we're wanting a few of the loans to be permanent. I did see a thing yesterday about that we are trying to get Jefferson on a permanent, which is obviously really good news. But I'm extremely similar to Etienne in the sense that I think we need another striker. Obviously, we've not mentioned the likes of Will Keane, who I do think will be going in the January window. Obviously, he's been on the bench for 6 games running now. He's not got anywhere near the squad, and I do think his legs have gone a little bit. Another one for me, though, I do think that right wing back is something that we do need to be looking at, just because obviously Paul's brilliant, as we all know, but I feel like after watching the Oxford game and seeing Ophir slotted into that right centre-back role, I do definitely feel that he's a bit more comfortable there. I do feel like we look a bit more solid as a defensive three with Story in the middle, obviously, until Gibson comes back. But I just feel like if the case ever was to be Paul gets injured, then I'd much rather have a more comfortable role. I don't think Thierry Small's comfortable enough there. I think he looks a bit more suited on the left. And I think that Ophir can sometimes be a bit like clumsy if he was to come up with like a very pacey direct winger. So they'd be my 2 priorities.
Yeah, I agree, Harvey. I think over the last few seasons, I think we've been too much square pegs, round holes when it comes to the wing-back positions. And I think, like you say, when we have done that this season, particularly Small playing at the right, I think we've just not looked anywhere near as good. Whereas when we've played the wing-backs in their natural positions, we're on up there with the best teams in the division. So I think that's a good point. And I think in terms of, for me, the biggest thing is actually just keeping those loan players, particularly. Obviously, Armstrong's going to be really difficult, but even if it means like him going back to Everton and then getting loaned back out to us again in the end of January, we just need him because he's absolutely pivotal to how we play. And I think it's no coincidence that our recent form or slash uptake in form, because I think we were starting to go down a bit, I think has come back with him coming back from injury. Because we look a different team, and I think everyone around him plays better. I think Whiteman, in particular, he's got less to worry about, and I think he plays his best. So I think keeping our loan players and maybe turning some of them into permanent deals, Jefferson would be a good one, because I think then the fans would be a bit more receptive to us getting another loan player. Because if we've got then a striker who's a permanent one, then I think if we get a loan player who's also a striker, I think the fans will accept that. So. I think they're the main things for me. I think the centre-back position is also, definitely something I think we should be addressing, purely because I think Hughes, in particular, he's done so well this season and played 90 minutes of football every single game, Tuesday night, Saturday, and I'm just thinking the bubble's gonna burst at some point, whether it's an injury, whether it's just fitness in general. I feel bad on him. I think that position in particular, with Gibson being out, it put a lot of strain on him. And I feel same with Lindsay. I think Lindsay, I know he got suspended the other week, but I think he was looking a bit tired, and I think he was basically a calamity about to happen. And it's how do we manage to? But when you've got 3 positions there, you need a bit more cover. And yeah, I think Afia's done really well on the right centre back, so I wouldn't mind him and Story taking up that right centre back position. But I think maybe in the centre or left centre back, even one of those two. I think it'd be great for us to strengthen that as well. So yeah, hopefully, yeah. Come January, end of January, we've actually got a squad that we think we can actually go and make a push here, because last few times I don't think we have.
I just want to quickly touch on your opinions on something. Obviously, excluding the fact that we've very limited on strikers, what would your opinion be on whether you keep or sell Osmajic? Obviously, given the fact that he's a bit problematic, obviously he's had his issues 2 seasons in a row now. Would you, as good as he is, would you say he's a player that you'd like to look to move on elsewhere and get somebody else in, or do you think that North End will keep him?
I think the money would have to be right. I think you've got to flip that question around in terms of we're in the top 6 at the time of this recording, and you're basically suggesting we could sell our best striker in January. Whether he is a bit of a problem or not, I don't know whether that's a good thing for the squad or the confidence. He seems really liked around the squad, even after the alleged incident. So I don't know if you take that he's got that such power and presence that I think defenders really worry about him, and I think he goes a bit under the radar because of that. Even if he doesn't always contribute with the goals, I feel like any defenders always see him and he gets into the head. And I feel that could be a sort of difference between, making the playoffs and not, because, he could win those games when he's sometimes he's not even looking like he's going to do anything, and he'll just come out with a bit of magic. And then if you sign a striker, he's a bit of an unknown quantity. We've seen some teams in the division sign players in the summer for tens of millions of pounds, and he hasn't actually worked for them. So yes, we know Osmajic. We know what he's about, and I think he's just a perfect suit for our club and our team. And I think he knows that as well. So I think whilst the club are happy with him, I think I'll be happy with him. But why not? I know you mentioned Etienne Tom Cannon. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think Wilder's pretty much said the same. But why not Cam Archer? Because he is apparently getting left out by Southampton and not really favoured with a new manager. So maybe that's another one that we could maybe look into.
If let's say right now, if I had to go to you, one dream player to have in January, who would it be? For one position in particular, if we only had the budget for one player.
I'd go and get Ellis Sims from Coventry. I think it's just, again, like we just spoke about a striker, banging in goals a lot for fun this season, extremely prolific. I think when you watch him, he can just, I think when he come on, he looks a lot better than Haji Wright when we played them. So mine would be Ellis Sims.
Yeah, I just said Archer then, so I might as well just go for him because I can't think of a certain exact player who would be a good fit. But I think it's good to have someone who's already done it here and knows the club inside out. Because January, I think, is a bit of a tricky window because they haven't got that as much time to bed in as they do in pre-season. So I think if they know players already, they know the training ground, they know the squad, they know some of this coaching stuff, then it probably help. So yeah, I'll go Cam Archer.
I think if I had to pick right now, my scenario would be if we'd lost Harrison Armstrong, and that'd be hopefully getting in the queue for Abdoulaye Kante from West Ham, because he looks like a serious physical presence in the midfield. Looks like he'd do a lot of ball winning. But yeah, I feel like picking up someone young would hopefully boost the squad a little bit. But that's one name I have in mind. So
that'll be all then, I'm guessing, boys. I think it's just going to be wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, and we'll see everyone after the break.
Yeah. Great.
Hopefully at this point we'll still be in top 3 at Christmas. So hopefully that's a shout out to 2 weeks' time, me, whether that happens or not. Right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.